Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an episode of Career Mode, and we're back with some more goodness. And yeah, I have some really good games for you guys today. They were actually really entertaining. I played them last night and they were really exciting to watch. So some good goals involved here. Unfortunately, we do have Mvia, who is injured again. I believe he's out for something like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I think, a full month again, which is just really devastating to the whole thing, because although I don't mind playing Lucas Leiva, it is really frustrating because I just want to be able to play, you know, my number one players in each position. So these injuries are really starting to stack up, but hopefully they don't get too crazy. But look at those stats from Coutinho. I think those first 3 physical stats were all 95 plus, which is just incredible. But first game up is against Benfica. It's for the Champions League. It's the Champions League group stage, and it's a big game. You know, I have them, I have Celtic, I have Schalke. They're all in my group, and they're all pretty big games. You know, they're all games I want to excel in. They're all games I want to do really well in. So it's going to be pretty important. And unfortunately, in the 4th minute, Rodrigo actually scores to put their team ahead. And this was a home game, you guys have to remember. So this was an important game for me to do well in. I certainly had no excuses for not doing well. The team has been performing very well lately. I don't think we've actually been beaten this season in the league as far as that goes. But I know I think we've been beaten by Manchester United in the Capital One Cup. So unfortunately, we have been beaten this season, but just not in the league, which is still really good. And some really nice play there from Sturridge. Unfortunately, it didn't find the back of the net, but that's what I'm finding works so well in career mode. If you guys already don't use the left trigger, right trigger stuff, then I really recommend you do so. And Sturridge there, again, unlucky to not get a goal. He opened his body up really nicely and finessed it, but unfortunately it hit the post. And that seems to be the story at the moment, you know, coming close, just not putting it away. But you guys will see in a little bit that we actually start to bury our chances. Sturridge again on the ball, really lethal in those sort of areas. And he takes a shot, he takes him on the inside, and that was his right foot. So I always know whenever I shoot with his right foot, I can't expect too much. But there have been times when I've taken shots like that on, and he's actually done pretty well. But a fantastic goal there, really nicely worked. Aubameyang actually finds Sturridge. At first I thought I was going to take the shot with Aubameyang, but it turns out Sturridge made a stunning run, and it made it a really good finish as well. So the guys are playing very well at the moment. Coutinho, one of the things I like about him is the fact he has such great ball control. He is so good at finding passes and just getting around defenders and things. But one thing he is really not that good at is, in fact, his finishing. He has some of the worst finishing. You take a look there, understand that was on his left foot, but you'd at least expect it to be on target. And in honesty, his finishing is abysmal. So I'm hoping that we can work on that, and hopefully he improves that. We get really lucky though. It was a bit of a cross/deflection sort of thing. I thought that might have gone in, but it wasn't meant to be. And we were 2-1 up though. So 2-1 up, feeling pretty good, and they were starting to get some more shots on target. The guys have been playing really well. Some, like I said, some solid goals, but some substitutions needed to be made. I am not having another injury because they are seriously driving me up the bend with these injuries. Coutinho there is a little low on fitness, but I didn't actually have Gerrard on the bench, which is a bit of a mistake on my part. But I know Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is more than capable of playing that sort of cam position, so I decided to stick him in there, and I think it would have been worked out really nicely because the Ox is actually a solid attacker. He's got good dribbling. Although his finishing might not be spot on, he's very much like Coutinho in the sense that he's got good dribbling. He's got a decent pass on him as well. So that little cam substitution didn't work out. You know, no, sorry, it did work out quite well. Although I was a little bit hesitant to do it, it was my mistake for not having Gerrard on the bench, and that's something I needed to fix for the next game. Speaking of that next game was up against West Bromwich Albion, and that is going to be a really interesting game. They have got some quality players. I remember in my first season with QPR, they actually got taken over by some Arab company, and they ended up getting loads of money, and I believe they bought Kurt Zouma off me, I think it was, for a lot of money. So it hasn't happened this time around. In fact, the team that got taken over this time around was in Sunderland, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. I'm actually really excited because I think that Sunderland will most definitely spend a lot of money come January. So hopefully they want to splash some cash on some of my players. But at the moment, I really can't seem to find any sort of weak point in the team. And speaking of Sturridge, there he is, the man. He takes it with his right foot there. And if you guys remember in that last game, he took a very similar shot with his right foot and it just went wide of the post. And I did say, you know, sometimes those do go in. And that's a prime example there. He did manage to put that into the back of the net. And I'm really happy to see that go in. A nice ball played over to Aubameyang. I didn't think he'd get to it, but I remembered that Aubameyang has bags of pace, and unfortunately, he doesn't manage to get the first shot. Sturridge follows up with the second. Again, unlucky not to get a goal there, but we were 1-0 up, very much in control of the majority of this game. They were really struggling just to get out of their half. Sturridge there just muscles the ball past and fires that in with his left foot. I mean, that is just becoming a very standard sort of thing with Sturridge, and he goes 2-0 up into halftime. As you can see, 1-1 in the game against the Arsenal Chelsea game, sorry, and things were just looking good. The team was playing very well, some good defending. That's what I'm actually noticing a lot. I believe Ulreich is actually top of the table for the most clean sheets in the league so far, and that is something I actually haven't had much of in any of the clubs I've been to. My defending hasn't been that great, so it's really good to see that my defending is sort of coming along, and just in general the team is starting to play much better. A really good stop there from Sturridge. He cuts inside, but again on his right foot he wasn't able to bend it past the keeper, and that's something that, you know, I kind of don't expect him to score that often. Unfortunately there, he was offside, but it was a really good chip, and I thought maybe if I didn't put as much power as I did onto it, it would have gone into the net, but we were 2-0 up, and I honestly didn't feel as though, you know, we were in any sort of threatened position, so I felt as though it was alright to bring someone like Barini on. I brought him on for Sturridge because I don't want Sturridge getting injured. He is my goal-scoring machine at the moment. I don't know how many goals he's on for this season so far, but I think he's like 23 across all competitions at the moment, which is just bizarre, and he is something like 13 or 14 in just the league, which is really great, and Sturridge actually picked up man of the match for that game, and I can't express to you guys how awesome he is playing for the team at the moment. Chelsea actually ended up beating Arsenal there 2-1, which is a solid result for Chelsea. A little bit disappointing for Arsenal, no doubt, but we had the Merseyside Derby, and it was an away game. We were away. We weren't at the fort that is Anfield, unfortunately, and as you guys can see, the two center backs, Ogbonna and Agar, are now 85 rated. It seems as though they're both growing at very similar rates, in the sense that, you know, they both got to 83 together, 84, and now 85, so I'm super excited to see how it all develops out. And Asayedi there was for some reason playing a very central sort of role. He almost played as though he was being Coutinho for a little bit, and he actually gets the opening goal, and that was quickly doubled as Aubameyang there fires that one past the keeper. Unfortunately for the keeper, he couldn't really do much. The team was just playing magnificently. Zaha there with the cut inside. He actually takes a shot, and I have to admit, you know, I haven't taken too many shots with Zaha, but I do think he is he's definitely got something about him that when he cuts inside, he just feels as though he's going to score. So it'll be interesting to see, but I want to quickly talk to you guys about one thing that you guys can really do in career mode. No matter what sort of level you're playing at, this sort of works. So what you want to do is use the left trigger, right trigger, and you'll see that they start to like cycle backwards, or they start to impose this strange sort of dribbling technique, but it's actually fantastic for getting round players. It's almost as if, you know, you're holding on, and then just a burst of pace is absolutely lethal. But we went 3-0 up. They managed to pull one back, but I was still like, we're still in good places, and unfortunately they quickly took it back, and it was 3-2. I was shitting bricks, there was no doubt about it, and a decent strike there for the corner, for the free kick, but unfortunately it just didn't have enough power to beat the keeper, and I don't really expect that from that sort of range and angle. And some early substitutions were made. You know, usually I make them between the 75th and the 90th minute, but this time it was just a little bit earlier, as you know, things were kind of heating up. It was 3-2. I needed to make some changes. There was no way I was willing to lose this game, and a P-roller is the decider. To make that gap go back to 2 goals, it was a P-roller. Those are the most frustrating goals ever to concede. I absolutely despise conceding those goals, seriously. You know, where they just trickle past your keeper, and you're like, why didn't he just move that extra little bit? But a nice ball played through, and that will seal the deal. In the 85th minute, Aubameyang there just finishes the game, picks up the 3 points for the team, and that is 4 goals for your mama, Aubameyang. Get this guy an inform, get him on Team of the Week, because he is just literally crushed this game, and he played so well. Some great finishing. So it's kind of Aubameyang's response to say Sturridge isn't the only big deal in this club. But guys, I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and if you have, then leaving a like is always appreciated. I hope you guys have all had a cracking day. I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye.